Do you ever find that as you're trying to get ready to go camping, it's driving you crazy? Just can't fit all of that stuff into your travel trailer or pop-up? How about the back of your truck or your van? It's just crazy trying to get everything that you need back in there. What you need is to watch this episode of Anderson's Outdoors, where we show you how to get out the door faster and be more organized so you can go camping. Straight back. Keep coming. Keep coming. 2 inches. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this episode of Anderson's Outdoors. Today's episode is all about camping and more specifically about getting organized. You might have seen our video where we got 2 inflatable 2-man, 2-person kayaks, and they're pretty big.
There's
a lot more
non-men in this family.
Woman kayaking going on than man kayaking. So 2 woman kayaks. Mine's a 1-man kayak. Off track.
Can I start? Can I go?
Yes.
Okay. We have a season of camping with our Popup under our belt. And so we started to think about this season of camping, which for us is starting in February because we're going to go to Patagonia Lake State Park and try out our new kayaks. The kayaks are huge and we didn't know where we were going to put them. And so we were already filling the back of our minivan with a lot of stuff. And then, so we just sat down and talked about what we needed, what we didn't need, what we could let go of, and how we could refine our camping experience. Our goal since the very beginning has been to see how fast we can get out the door.
How many of you guys have had this experience to where you're trying to get ready to go, you can't find the things that you need, stuff is kind of all over the place. It's just it's very easy to be disorganized when you're getting ready to go on a trip. And then what should be a lead up to a really joyful time with your family can turn into a really frustrating time or maybe even fights.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work getting out the door. And so it can be, on the person who's doing the most work, it can be frustrating. And, I'll admit I can get growly when I'm trying to get things done. And so I don't want to be that way. So instead, my solution is to try to streamline the process of getting out the door.
The 2 main things that we want to focus on in this video that we are trying to address right now basically are food and meals, and then also just the organization side of how we get the pop-up packed and trying to get everything that we need for a trip into the back of the van and the small amount of space that we do have in the pop-up to use for storage. Meals and food. One of the things that we really wanted to try to do this year is figure out how to get rid of all of those stops at McDonald's. We really want to try to plan ahead, take the food that we need, and so we're going to buy an electric cooler that will fit in between the seats in the back in between our daughters, and we can plug that in and that'll just keep things cool. We can have some drinks in there, we can make sandwiches ahead of time, or just have the fixins that we need to eat on the road. And then that way, we can kind of pull off wherever and make some quick food, or we can find rest stops, that to use the restrooms and spend some time there eating and hanging out and, spending more time outside rather than spending $30 and sitting in somebody's fast food joint.
Yeah, that is something that we really are focused on this year, is cutting down the food costs related to traveling to and from the camping places. So we want to have a budget and we want to stick to the budget.
Over the last year, we had a bin, just one big bin that was probably a lot bigger than we needed, just kind of full of all of our kitchen stuff. So we're kind of trying to refigure that as well. We've gotten rid of that bin, and we got 2 smaller stackable bins that actually have pull-out drawers, and we're able to get everything that we need for our camp kitchen into those smaller drawers, and then they will actually store on the floor of the pop-up. And so the idea is that, we can keep all of the kitchen stuff in the back of the pop-up. Also, we're going to start trying to figure out how we can do better with doing dishes at the campsite. We're going to try to figure out how that we can do that in a way that we can get everything clean and ready to put back in the pop-up at the campsite. That way, pretty much everything that goes back in the pop-up when we're done at that campsite, we can pop the top down, hitch it up, bring it home and put it in the garage, and we don't have to worry about like cleaning things and then trying to remember to get them back in the pop-up, for the next trip. So we're trying to streamline that process, and we'll see how that goes. One other thing that we've realized too is that, we've kind of been a little bit of a slave to some of our own ideas, or maybe what we think, other people think camping has to be in terms of food. What we've realized for us though is that we've been trying to be a little bit more fancy with what we're eating for various meals. We're spending a lot of time trying to get that done and get cleaned up. For me, a lot of times I want to eat and go fishing. So what we're going to try to do this year is we're going to try to keep things more simple. And, like for breakfast, we've just decided some fruit and some oatmeal. I can make a pot of hot water, get the kettle going. We can have coffee, eat our oatmeal, grab a piece of fruit, and then we're off. We can go be hiking before it starts to get hot, or I can be out fishing before the middle of the day or before the wind comes up.
Yeah. And so we're just letting go of that, idea that we have to have some kind of fancy breakfast and, some kind of fancy dinner. So we're just hot dogs, hamburgers, chips. That's camping food for us.
None of us really wants to spend a lot of time doing cleanup.
Yeah. We
don't want to spend hardly any time doing prep. We just don't have really the space to do that with the pop-up. We love having the pop-up for a lot of the conveniences that it has, but we just don't want to be doing all that prep. We want to be either out doing the things that we enjoy or relaxing around the campfire.
Another thing we're doing in our endeavor to create more space for these kayaks is change the way we were storing our bedding. Originally, we had them in those big, giant space bags, and we would just stuff them underneath the jackknife couch, and that was fine. It worked fine, but then we realized that we could probably take them and actually just leave them on the beds. So we're leaving the bedding on the beds. We're going to try that, close the camper, and see if leaving the bedding on the beds works out. And then we're keeping the kitchen stuff underneath the jackknife couch now. So then that eliminated space that we were using in the minivan. We can now keep that stuff in the camper. Then we have more room in the back of the minivan for the kayaks.
So thanks for watching this episode of Anderson's Outdoors. We really hope that this kind of information is helpful to you. We really feel like one of the most important things that that we do regarding getting ready to go camping is some of this organization work, and it is a little bit of work on the front end to try to think through these things. And we have some checklists for groceries and to make sure that we have everything that we need when we go. But putting in that work ahead of time and getting that all done before you go, and knowing that you have checklists, knowing that you have all the food and equipment that you need, and then knowing basically how you're going to get packed, it really does resolve a lot of problems for us. It saves us a lot of time on those days that we're trying to get out the door.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching this episode, and we'll catch you guys next time.
And I'm recording all of this too. It won't knock out.
How's that?